Catherine said, and my father was at 4BFTS, which was in Florida. 4BFTS Association started in the 1960s and didn't disband until 2013. And so in 2001, they were still very strong, and they were invited to take part in the new National Memorial Arboretum, which is in Alrewas in Staffordshire. And if you don't know where that is, it's somewhere between halfway between Burton-on-Trent and Lichfield. So what happened in 2001? They had a request for money for trees, and the association decided that they would give £150, which in those days would cover a tree and a plaque. And then they asked members if they wanted to give more, and they got over £1,000. And that allowed for 5 trees, and five for 4BFTS, of which 2 are English birch trees and 3 are American birch trees, which are slightly smaller. And so it was put up in 2002. For those of you that don't know, there's a chapel at the National Memorial Arboretum, and they had a service of dedication in the chapel, and then there was a big tree planting ceremony using the spade that had been used by the Queen to plant something else, so they're very proud of that. And all that is on the A4 sheet in your packs. And so here we are. So the first one that's here is, I took these in 2014, so it's been up for a while. So there are the trees growing in the middle, and the money, the £1,000 plus, paid for 2 plaques. So the plaque on the left-hand side is the one that tells you about 4BFTS and why there's 5 trees. And the one on the right was an information board, because this group of 5 trees forms the entrance to what was then called the RAF Wing, and is now more commonly known as the RAF Wood or the RAF Grove. And so 4BFTS paid for an information board, which you can't actually read. You couldn't read then, and you can hardly read it on the screen. But it told you which numbers were what sort of bit of the RAF. Anyway, when I saw it, I thought, oh my goodness, this is terrible. It's so shabby, it's horrible. And so if you can come up to the next slide, because I was doing slides. So I got onto the National Memorial Arboretum. Unfortunately, there'd been an agreement between 4BFTS and the Arboretum that they would maintain the site because it was part of the whole grove. So the National Memorial Arboretum kindly paid for a new plaque, which is on your sheet, and it's also there on the left-hand side. And it's a rectangular one. It's slightly different from the house plaques that they have. But it's slightly different, and again, it tells you the story of the 5 trees, the 2 English oaks, and the 3 birches, and the 3 American birches. And that's what it looked like on the right in 2019, just before COVID. I haven't sadly been back since. But, I mean, the trees are growing. You can see how much they're growing. And the plaque is actually by a tree. So if you look on your sheet, you'll see me. You've got me, you've got photos of me, standing by a tree by the plaque. So you can see it's quite a substantial plaque. Now this last one is 1BFTS, and it is more or less opposite 5BFTS. Now that was dedicated in 2006, and that is the oval is the house plaque, which I think is the one that you've been talking about, Catherine. It's slightly smaller. They had 1 tree, and I'm not sure if they had 1 tree because they were number 1, or they had 1 tree because they also donated money to the bench that's sitting next door to it, so their money went into the bench. But that's what's there at the moment. And that's, I think Catherine told me that the Arboretum want the plaques to be by a tree. Yes. So 1's been taken up with number 1, but in number 5, we've got 5 trees and only 1's got a plaque on, so we're sort of thinking if some of our, because we've got about 6 cadets who are still alive, if they've got no objection, we might actually lend you a tree. Terms to be agreed. Perhaps an annual invitation to agree, and you can stick your plaque on one of our trees. Perhaps the other English birch. But So that's the story of the trees, and it's very brief and very quick, but it's all on your sheet as far as number 5 is concerned, and that's it, because I've got no more time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jenny.